Mortal Shell 2 is the follow-up to a Souls-like that. Honestly, most people played more because there wasn't much else at the time, not really out of hype. And this time, it actually looks like they're trying to fix pretty much everything. The first Mortal Shell had its own identity, that was clear. But yeah, it also had some pretty obvious problems. The level design could get confusing, progression wasn't always clear, and the difficulty sometimes felt forced, not really earned. You could finish it, sure, but it left that feeling like it could have been way better. This sequel, at least from what the gameplay trailer shows, is going straight at those issues, taking that base and trying to make something more structured, more complete. The first big thing you notice is the world design. It's moving away from those tight, almost maze-like areas into something more open. But they're not going full open-world chaos. The idea here is no filler, no wasted space. The devs talk about a compact, interconnected world with over 60 dungeons, which sounds like they're going for density instead of size. So instead of getting lost trying to find the path, it looks more like you're dealing with whatever's actually inside each area. Visually, it's a big step up. Still dark fantasy, still cold and kinda oppressive. That part hasn't changed, but now it looks cleaner, sharper, and the draw distance actually lets you see the world properly. It doesn't feel like a small project anymore. It feels like something aiming a bit higher. The core idea is still there. You don't have your own body. You take over these shells. Basically fallen warriors with different abilities. In the trailer, you see 3. Teal is still the fast one, all about dodging. Aerodrim is the tank, slow but heavy. And then there's Proxima, the new one, who looks more technical, more offense-focused. But the real difference now is depth. Before, you kinda picked a shell and just worked around it. Now it looks way more build-focused. You've got slots for primary and secondary weapons, abilities, modifiers, stuff that actually changes how you play. You can go fast with poison damage, or slow and heavy, or something more specialized with mobility and control. It feels like there's actual customization now. The biggest change, though, is firearms. And not just as a gimmick, they're part of the core combat. Some weapons can fire repeatedly, and you can use them mid-fight without restrictions. That alone changes the pacing a lot compared to typical Soulslikes. There is a bit of risk there. In a genre that's all about timing and positioning, strong ranged options can easily break the balance. But if they get it right, it could make fights feel way more dynamic instead of predictable. At its core, the combat still uses the same base mechanics. Hardening is still there, turning to stone to absorb hits. But now everything looks smoother. Animations aren't as stiff, dodges feel quicker, and heavy attacks actually look like they hit hard. Parrying also looks better. Visually, it's clearer, easier to read, which helps a lot because before it wasn't always obvious. Overall, combat just feels faster, more aggressive, less rigid. Another small thing, but interesting, is that fall damage is almost gone. Doesn't sound like much, but it fits with a more fluid way of moving around, especially in a more open world. The interface got cleaned up too. Menus are easier to read. Everything's more organized between shells, weapons, and upgrades. The progression system seems similar to the first game, just presented in a way that actually makes sense this time. There are also some more experimental ideas. One example is this traversal system where you basically launch yourself across the map like a projectile. It's used for faster movement and exploring, stuff like that. Not revolutionary, but it adds variety and breaks the usual pacing. You really notice the technical improvements during boss fights. The one shown in the trailer takes place in a really striking arena, with better lighting and smoother animations. The attacks look tough but fair, and the flow between defending and attacking feels way more natural than before. And overall, the game just doesn't feel low budget anymore. It feels like something that knows what didn't work the first time and is actually trying to fix it without losing what made it unique. There are still some unknowns, no real info on multiplayer or summoning. Release window is just 2026 for now. And yeah, everything we've seen is from a trailer, so expectations should stay realistic. But compared to the first game, this shows direction. The world is more structured, combat looks more dynamic, builds go deeper, and it's not just copying other Soulslikes, it's trying to expand on them. If the original Mortal Shell was more of an experiment with good ideas but messy execution, This feels like a real attempt to turn those ideas into a complete game. Mortal Shell 2 looks like a clear evolution across the board, and it actually has the potential to go from something niche and forgettable to a Souls-like people seriously pay attention to. Thanks for watching, and if your time felt well spent, a like or a comment really helps out.